back and pleasure to have you join us once again. Good morning from the east side. Of course, you're watching the Afia Morning Show live from the cool, humid city of Enugu, Nigeria. I'm Natalie and Oji is here. Good morning, Oji.
Good morning.
It's a black week for you, isn't it? I've left you in the black era. I've moved on to brighter colors because I anticipate brighter days ahead.
Yeah, well, brighter days ahead, but I'm somewhat mourning too, so you could actually permit me to, be this way for
full
some time.
Permission granted. Yeah. Full permission granted. All right, it's going to be a packed show today, that we can assure you. But before we get into all of those discussions and reports, we always start with taking a look at headlines, those stories making the front covers of our national dailies. To assess the stories, we're joined by Barrister Chiagozie Michael Wabuko, a legal practitioner, chartered mediator, and conciliator. Barrister Wabuko, so good to have you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Natalie. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oji. Well, you said it with some finesse, some steel.
He has been my guy. My guy. No be today things.
So what's your story, Oji? Tell us your story.
My story?
Yes.
What story, sorry?
Barrister Wabuko, help us with this story. You say my guy, Tete. So when did the Tete start?
You used to promote a song for me. I do sing. I sing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you used to promote music for me, a music album. So
wow,
I'm a singer.
Nice.
So we've known long before now. When I was doing a music album and he was promoting the thing for me.
Wow, that's great. So we'll have to now research Oji's backstory as well.
Yeah.
Yes, the Enugu story. Nice one. Great for that background. So let's begin the review, shall we?
All right.
Starting with The Guardian. And the cover story here. Election year to test Nigeria's reform momentum, growth recovery. Manufacturing endangered as sector sheds 18,935 jobs in H1 2025. Part also rocks APC as leaders split over Mutfwang's defection. Reps raise alarm over terrorist threat to bomb National Assembly. Obi worries about drug trafficking through courier services. And local contractors accuse federal government of withholding 760 billion naira payments, threaten protest. Nigeria among the least connected by air despite huge potential. On New Telegraph, Reps panel, we've received threats from terrorists to bomb Nass. Police kick as the State Assembly is back bill to establish Nass Security Directorate. Federal government to expand the cash transfer beyond 15 million households, says Edun. Nigerians spent 15 trillion naira on generator diesel fuel in 1 year, according to Adelabu. Study links rapid tooth loss to higher death risk in older people. CBN bank loans to government up 5.26% to 24.16 trillion naira. And of course, stories here squeezed in the center. Anambra Guba, federal government vows top action on disruptive elements. Police to deploy 45,000 officers. U.S. revokes Wole Soyinka's visa, asks him to reapply. And federal government processes 170 foreign applications for citizenship. Straight to the punch. And the big story here. Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba, Plateau, Adamawa governors face defection dilemma. Kefas Mutfwang, political realignment looms, Fintiri holds ground. Planned defection unsettled state APC leaders. Abdul Razak receives 23 kidnapped victims rescued by military. Vote buying won't decide Anambra election, according to INEC chair Amupiton. Hidden assets, court rules Abba Kyari has case to answer. States to earn over 4 trillion naira yearly from VAT reforms. And lastly here, visa cancellation. Why I snubbed U.S. Embassy's summons, according to literary giant Wole Soyinka. On Vanguard, don't just reform, cut waste. Sanusi, Peterside tell federal government. Senate's NSITF take over declaration of war on workers, according to NLC. Reps to probe NFF over $25 million people grants have been banned from U.S., according to Soyinka. And lastly here, Enugu emerges likeliest state to survive without FAC allocations, according to a budget report.
Okay, Daily Global. Edun. FG to expand cash transfer beyond 15 million households. Messi hints at playing in 2026 World Cup. No promotion scandal in the Nigerian police force, says IGP. Rising pillars, my journey of empowering women and youth in agriculture. Drug parties are illegal. NDLEA warns club owners, fund seekers, gymnastics leadership crisis. Stakeholders insist on transparent and inclusive election. ITP and FCT chapter ends 3-day executive retreat for professional impact industry growth. And lastly, on Daily Global, I have been banned from US, says Soyinka. The Nation. Edun, benefits of reforms gradually reaching the poor. Small businesses infrastructure need better financing, says Aruma Ote. Federal government port modernization policy all-inclusive, says Oyetola. Revocation of my US visa won't deter me, says Soyinka. Christopher Kolade lived and ended well, says Bishop. Catch it on page 4 of the Nation. Nigerian News Direct. State accumulate more debt despite increased earnings. Attributed to report as debt burden jumps to 41,766 naira per citizen. Cash transfer scheme. We have the record citizens are benefiting, says Edun as he insists. US revokes Wole Soyinka's visa. Reps launch probe into over alleged misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. Stop digressing from normalcy. Bode George slams Lamido, others seeking court intervention. Lastly, Independent. Nigeria's state debt climbs 6.8% to 10.57 trillion naira budget fines. Anambra emerges more fiscal sustainable state in 2025. Enugu likes state to survive independent of FAC allocation. Don't allow Nigerians' democracy die in your hands, Tinubu urged. Reps move to probe NFF over misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. FG targets 2 million meters annually with 700 billion naira funding. NSA vows tough action against violence in Anambra poll. Dangote Cement reports 165% surge in earnings per share. Reinforces market leadership across Africa. Reforms focus on easing hardship for ordinary citizens, says they do. Nigerians need long-term capital infrastructure investment, attributed to Ote. Sanusi blames decades of inaction on fuel subsidy for hardship. And lastly, Reps panel moves to impose green tax on plastic producers. Lastly.
All right, thank you, Oji, for those headlines, rather interesting stories this morning. I'd like us to begin our analysis this morning with what is reaching us from Nass. Now, the National Assembly is saying they're receiving threats from terrorists to bomb the chambers. What's your reaction to this? I mean, it's quite shocking, isn't it? How would you react?
Well, they didn't tell us who wants to bomb the National Assembly. Either did they tell us that a particular group, wants to bomb the National Assembly. But the fact remains that Nigeria is not secure. So it's not different from what is happening elsewhere. Every day we hear news of people being kidnapped, people being murdered, communities being sacked by bandits or terrorists or groups that are agitating for one thing or the other. So the problem is that the country is not secure. So whatever they are alleging that wants to happen in the National Assembly is not actually a remote thing. It has to do with the general state of things in Nigeria. Nigeria is not secure. So I think we should talk more about security and not just making it a talk, to do more about security of Nigeria. In one of the newspapers this morning, we heard that soldiers, rescue some people in Kwara State. So you see, Nigerians are not safe. Nigerians are not secure. There's no state in Nigeria that can boast of having a better security apparatus now, even our beloved Abuja. So it's worrisome. It's fearful. So I think we don't have to pay lip service to the issue of security. We have to sit up as a country to take security very serious, because I think we are actually gambling with the lives of Nigerians.
All could be cooking. The other time, just a couple of days or weeks thereabout, we heard about the coup. The service chiefs all, the reins and the change and all that. Now they're threatening to bomb Nass. Who could actually be cooking? What's happening? And when a country starts experiencing things like this, what's next?
Actually, like I said, two things are there. One, Nigerians are not happy. People can take action, one action, even criminal actions against government or perceived government agencies. Nigerians are not happy. People are hungry. People are not safe. So people are acting on overdrive. That is one. Number two, there's also a possible likelihood that there was no threat at the National Assembly. It may be a proactive measure to stop protests in Nigeria. Because if you read that news very, very well, it's talking about maybe action of protesters. That's one of the things. So I think that maybe it's like
because also that protesters that are meant to come shut down.
Yes. It may be an action to stop protesters because I read that report. They are also talking about protesters in line with issue of bombing the National Assembly. So it may be a proactive action to stop or discourage people from protesting. If you remember the last protest by Showore, they had to cut off some areas. So I think they know Nigerians are not happy. And they know that, like Showore promised, that there will be more protests. So they may want to tell us that, hey, they want to bomb National Assembly, so don't come to the National Assembly. So maybe a proactive measure to
use force.
Yeah.
And avert their rules of engagement.
All right, I have to comment there. I think any matter of security and water should not be taken lightly. Of course, before we hear story, but that's not what we hope for at the end of the day. I hope that people do not resort to such means if the story proves true. Let's segue from there to the Punch. Hurricane Tinubu, Taraba Plateau, Adamawa governors fix defection dilemma. Now, there are concerns that PDP only governs in 8 states of Nigeria. And critics, Nigerians are arguing, people are arguing, opposition is arguing that Nigeria is drifting towards a one-party state, dwindling the power of opposition, dwindling accountability, transparency. The other day, we heard one of the governors say he was being pressured to join the All Progressives Congress. The Enugu State Governor, Dr. Peter Mbah, just recently defected to APC. And now we're seeing more high-profile individuals, spewing these rumors that they're going to be defecting soon. What's your take on what has now been described as Hurricane Tinubu?
Well, I'm indifferent about it because our political parties they don't have ideology. All of them are the same. All of them are the same. In fact, it boils down to individual governance, coming to different states. It boils down to the governor who has the people at heart, who understand the rules of governance and who are treating people like human beings and not like animals in the zoo. As long as I'm concerned, PDP, APC, they are the same people. There's no opposition.
But the dilemma now is not about ideology. In fact, it has shifted. One of the major reasons for this defection is fueled by access, closeness to federal might. They want to align with the federal, and they say the federal, that alignment will bring more development to the state. In fact, the reason is not about the ideology. That has long been established. The main reason is to tap into the center.
Anybody who gives you that as a reason, I don't want to abuse anybody, but that was one of the most funny excuses a politician can give. Are we disconnected? Is any state in Nigeria disconnected? Is there any state in Nigeria that doesn't receive their allocations every month? So once you receive your constitutionally provided allocation, what else are you looking for from the center? Are you saying that we are enjoying insecurity in some parts of the country because the federal government is not producing security, it's not securing Nigeria? So I think it's about personal interest. They are thinking beyond, they are thinking about 2027. They are thinking that if we don't perform, they will use the federal might to suppress other parties that are opposition parties in the state. So it's not about governance, it's about politics, it's about individual political survival. So if they want to join APC, fine. The more the merrier. At the end of the day, we have an implosion in APC. Right. That's what is going to happen.
Now, the Fourth Republic is characterized by a multi-party system where you have different parties operating and people compete to enter the seat of power. What does this shift to a one-party state, as it's proven to be true, mean for democracy as it's being practiced in Nigeria?
Well, in certain climes, to understand, it's necessary to have a multi-party system. It provides checks and balances to the ruling party. It's very important. But in Nigeria, like I asked, is PDP actually an opposition party in Nigeria? We only have an opposition in the person of P2B. Is PDP actually holding APC by the jugular? No. No. What is PDP as a party doing different from APC? No. The purpose we see talking are individuals like P2B and Showore. So we see people, we don't see parties playing the role of opposition. We only see individuals who are concerned with the state of affairs in Nigeria, voicing out against misgovernance, against insecurity, against the sleazing governance. We don't see parties, standing as political parties to oppose misgovernance. Has PDP been doing that? No. So for me, I'm indifferent. If all of them, let them join APC, I'm very indifferent about it because I have not seen PDP playing the role as a viable opposition. I've not seen them holding the federal government by the jugular as regards to issues of national security, issues of poverty, issues of employment, issues of livelihood of Nigerians. I don't see them doing anything. They're just there following APC, doing exactly the same thing. Can we say for a fact that APC states are far better off than PDP states, or vice versa? It's just the same. The same loot we see in APC is there in PDP. The same misgovernance in APC is in PDP. The same insecurity in the APC states are also there in PDP states. So what are the parties doing differently from each other? For me, as far as I'm concerned, they are still the same people. The matter we are looking at is if we can find individual leaders or governors who take care of their people irrespective of parties. But in similar climes, it's better to have a multi-party system where the other parties, the opposition parties, can hold the government in power, responsible for action so that they can. Then here in Nigeria, we see all of them. They're almost like a difference between a 12 and half a dozen, as long as I'm concerned.
But what's really the attraction here? What's that carrot in the political rabbit hole that's attracting all these individuals and politicians to the APC? Are they scared of 2027? And has the mandate left the people and gone to one political party? And also, as they stated, INEC too is a political party at this point in time, right? So what's that attraction? Are these politicians scared that they want to retain their seat and the people can't give them those mandates that they're looking for, one political party, one man, regarding the way he does his elections?
Politicians in Nigeria, they understand that they are not doing very well. So they are scared of the people. And they know that two things will happen. It's likely that there will be voter apathy. And then, one, voter apathy. Two, people may likely just vote based on individual basis and not on parties. So those people who are partisan believe that they may not actually win the election. So what do? They run under the covering of the presidency. It's not about APC. It's about President Tinubu. For me, people are not joining APC. They are joining President Tinubu.
And it's style of
yes. So they want to be protected so that they can, manipulate the system of vote buying and rigging. That's what we are seeing playing out. Secondly, they've seen what happened in Rivers State. They have received the memo from the president that any governor can be removed unconstitutionally and nobody will do anything about it. So it's better you stay on the winning side than having the president to remove you unceremoniously at the risk of removal. So they're actually scared. It's about 2027 political survival. So there's nothing scintillating or enticing about APC. They just want to be protected by the president.
This
so
is not the first time that Nigeria is having a president, Barrister Waboko. It's not the first time Nigeria is having a president. What is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing differently that is causing this shift? I mean, in the previous governments, we saw defections, but to this magnitude that the president seems to have earned himself a nickname, Hurricane Tinubu. What is he doing differently? How is he pulling all these people to him?
Well, we see a person who is a master strategist. I give that to him. He may not be doing anything overtly for Nigerians to see, but there are subtle threats to governors. That's a fact. And the memo was sent through River State leadership that in the present democratic dispensation, a governor can be removed unceremoniously. And the people have seen the National Assembly that is actually kowtowing to the presidency. So we've seen a National Assembly that it doesn't even stand. In fact, this National Assembly, for me, with respect to them, is the worst National Assembly. It's a National Assembly that have never stood up to the executive. Unlike what we see in the period of Saraki, we see Saraki and Ekwemadu standing up to the executive. But now we are seeing an Akpabio-led National Assembly that bows and scrapes to Tinubu. So governors they're afraid. They're afraid their political survival is threatened. So what do? Join Tinubu and then be safe so that the presidency does not come at you. That is what is happening.
The new INEC chair, Professor Joash Amopiton, he's been saying a whole lot, trying to change the face of INEC, trying to make everything that elections are going to be decided by the people, by INEC, not in the law courts, that we're going to do away with that concept, by the way. Do you believe in this individual that he's going to change the messed up face of INEC? He's going to redeem the face of INEC, that he's going to stand like Professor Oti did in Abia State?
Well, let's give him the benefit of doubt. For him, let's give benefit of doubt. But however, my worry has always been when a person who is interested in an office appoints another person.
I was going to come to that.
What were you expecting? What were you expecting the prof to do? To close his eyes and then do the right thing? I don't expect that. He knows who Tinubu was, who Tinubu is. He knows Tinubu's political masterstroke, and as long as I'm concerned, he will do the bidding of his appointor. He will do nothing different from Jega. He will do nothing different from Mahmoud. What we see will not be different. But we'll give him the benefit of that, but he will not do beyond what his boss has called him to do.
So all you're saying is all these talks are initial gra-gra.
Is that what Mahmoud did? Have you forgotten that Mahmoud told us that they will use beavers?
Yeah.
Have you forgotten that Mahmoud told us? He came out and railed the proceedings and procedures and then what they would do. And the same Mahmoud did the voter force. And at the end, he told us to go to court. So I'm not expecting anything different from
I'll give it to
Professor Joash, with respect to him.
Joash Amapiton. He's saying that he's going to screen and investigate all that happened in the past election. So to find what rates.
That is hogwash. That is hogwash. Wow. He shouldn't do that. In fact, he has no facility to do that.
Right.
He has no facility to do that. He has no time. There's an election coming up next week in Anambra. He should be focused on Anambra and give us
Anambra
election.
Is going to be the templates.
He will give us a facade. Anambra will be. He will conduct Anambra well, so I will relax and then wait for the big one.
So you said something. You said you think that he will close his eyes and just do the right thing. If you were to list out the anomalies in Nigeria at the moment, what would such anomalies be? I mean, you listed one. If someone appoints you, of course, you have to do his bidding, right? So if you were to list out some of these anomalies, what would they be to you? When you sit down and think of the problem with Nigeria, the problem of Nigeria, what are those things you feel have now been accepted as status quo, but in fact are completely absurd?
Our politics is heavily monetized. Unless we demonetize Nigerian political space, we are not going anywhere, because political actors will do everything within their powers to sustain and maintain themselves in office. So they will do everything, including looting, including killing, including kidnapping. So the INEC chairman is not even safe. He's scared. As far as I'm concerned, he has no immunity against any form of prosecution, against the government. So what do you expect somebody to do? He's an appointee of a person who is interested in the election is conducted. So unless we have a system that one demonetizes the political space, then we are not going anywhere. Secondly, we have a system where the constitution gives the executive so much power. As far as an executive in Nigeria is like an emperor. He has wide powers, and then he can fire you, he can hire and fire. He can extend the tenure of IG of police, and nobody does anything about it. He can extend the tenure of chief judge. He can remove hire and fire at will without any consequence. So what do you expect the appointees to do?
Is it too late? Is it too late for those reforms that you speak of? Is it too late? Now the INEC chair has been appointed. I mean, we're now looking back in hindsight, but we all watched and clapped as he was appointed. And now he has been sworn in, he's been confirmed and sworn in, he's in there. But we all watched it happen, right? We kept on calling Hurricane Tinubu until governors, everybody started defecting. Is it too late for Nigeria to stop closing eyes and not doing the right thing, to opening eyes and doing the right thing?
It's not too late. Yes, we can still do the right thing, but not against 2027. 2027 is already sailed. We are talking about if the president wants to get the things done, he can be trying to organize a better election after 2027, maybe towards 2031, that he no longer has an interest. He can now be a statesman and then insist that the electoral body will do the right thing. He can give us a good election.
Hasn't the blueprint been set already? The blueprint, has it not been set already?
There's no blueprint. Honestly speaking, have you read Electoral Act? Go and read that document. You'll be so disappointed with Nigeria. An electoral act that makes the parties, makes the person who lost the election prove that the election were not properly conducted. You've let the person that conducted the election, and then the person that lost the election. Yes, the burden of proof is upon the person that alleges. Understand? So if you lose an election and you are alleging that the election was fraudulently conducted, you have to prove something that is not within your power. And then INEC will sit down and wait for you to prove that INEC rigged the election. So how are you going to prove it? All the facilities are with INEC, and INEC will always support the party that they declared as a winner.
Does INEC actively release evidence to such people who intend to challenge the election in court?
That was what happened to Peter Obi. Remember, before he could procure those documents, he was out of time. In fact, he brought tons of evidence. Do you know why Obi lost at the tribunal? The court was very clear. The court said that those documents were produced late in time. And then they were bad. So the documents were not admitted in evidence. In fact, he has about 70 witnesses. Only 3 evidence were allowed. From evidence 4 to 17 were not allowed because they came in late in time, because he couldn't access those documents with which to prove that INEC didn't do the right thing. So until they fix that aspect of the Electoral Act that will place the burden on INEC to show total compliance of the elections, then we are not going anywhere.
But that's common sense. That is common sense. That is what should actually happen. That's what should exist. I mean, if someone has said this election was not free, fair, and credible, the umpire should be the one to come and prove his case and say, this person is wrong, I am right. It's almost like someone use it. I think there's a total flaw, and it's time
and
for
that's what they are
legal
capitalizing
practitioners
on.
to come together
These are
and do the right
things
thing.
that are meant to-
That's what they are capitalizing on. So each time you go to the tribunal, you have the person who lost the election striving to score to get evidence to prove that INEC didn't do the right thing, but INEC has all the four aces. What are you expecting? So INEC, they will hide it and sit on it. And by the time you secure it and procure it, they have already doctored it and giving you doctored copies. So they're giving you CTC of what is in their custody to come and prove that INEC failed in their duties. What INEC will give you documents to prove that they failed? They will definitely not give you documents. And at the end of the day, the documents will not be tendered within time. And then electoral tribunal will throw away your documents.
What are legal practitioners, legal professionals like yourself doing about this apparent anomaly?
Well, we were doing advocates like we're discussing now, we're talking about it, we're sensitizing Nigerians. However, the bulk lies at the National Assembly and they're not interested because the National Assembly are burdened with the fact, with the duty of amending laws. Are they amending the Electoral Act? Is it this scatako arrangement they are doing? It's not an amendment. It's not an amendment. Few months to the election, you start running up and I say, want to amend. It's not working. So they know that if they amend it, it will work against them too. So they will sit down and allow the status quo to be maintained, which is also in their favor. So you go there, rig election, do it anyhow you like, and then sit down and then wait for the person that lost the election to prove that INEC, who is already an interested party, who has already sided a party, will give you documents to prove that there was a flaw in the system. INEC will not do that. So that's why I'm indifferent. Seriously, I'm indifferent until we look at our laws, tweak our laws, and then get our laws properly. Then we are not going anywhere.
So all this electoral reform and conversation we're having, amendments and all that is all facade.
Any electoral act that does not provide, if you look at it, like I said, our electoral act is a funny piece of legislation. People rig elections and there are no penalties for election riggers. None. Zero. There are no punishment for parties or politicians that rig election. There are no punishment for INEC for non-compliance with INEC rules. So that's why they can tell you, go to court. If you're not happy the way we conducted the elections, even if it is not in consonance with the law, INEC will simply look at you and bizarrely tell you to go to court.
Go to court.
There are no sanctions for non-compliance. So until we look at this, then I don't think we'll go anywhere.
All right, let's take a look at this story here. Vanguard, right corner. Enugu emerges likeliest state to survive without FAC allocations, according to a budget report. How do you feel about that headline? I mean, it's just reaching us this morning. How do you feel about that? Do you think that this report is consistent with what you do see on ground?
Let me take a deep breath. Yes, Enugu is actually, in fact, if it's not third or fourth in Nigeria, that's generating mostly of IGR. So Enugu State can survive without FAC allocation. That is very, very correct. Our governor promised us that during this campaign. He said that he's going to widen the tax net. So a lot of people have not been captured in the tax net. Now, the question is not about generating revenue from IGR. The issue is not about surviving without FAC allocation. It's about are the people actually feeling the import of governance, good governance in Enugu State? Are people actually being oppressed when we're talking about generating revenue? People are crying. People in Enugu State are crying. So we are appealing to our governor, please. Enugu State indigenes and citizens are crying. Some of the policies are not going down well with people. We agree with your policies, sir. But sir, with respect, sir, people are crying. Have mercy on people. For example, the landowners, they have about three major levies are paying now. They pay land use charge to the government of Enugu State. They pay rental tax. Therefore, crown lands, they have to pay in the neighborhood of 7.5 to 8 million naira for properties people bought 20 years, 50 years ago. So, is Enugu State generating money? Yes. Will Enugu State survive without FAC allocation? Yes. However, the burden is on people. People are paying through their noses. So I think the government of Enugu State should revisit his taxing regime so that Enugu State people can breathe.
All right, so this is seen, I mean, you talked about Enugu, now we're seeing that followed by Enugu, closely followed, I mean, right before, is Lagos, Afia, Anambra, and Kwara. So basically, Enugu is top of the list in this.
Definitely.
So Enugu is the most likely and likely to survive without FAC allocations.
Yes.
And then you see Lagos following, Afia and Anambra. I mean, let's talk about Lagos. Lagos is where everybody goes to when they want to go and look for business. They're looking for jobs, so they all go to Lagos. For Enugu to supersede, to rise above Lagos, when we drop comments about, oh, the burden of tax and all of that, people say, oh, you need to go to Lagos and see what tax is. That's Enugu. People are just, this is child's play for you. I mean, still on the tax angle. So what does it mean for Enugu to be leading, to be coming before Lagos?
That shows you the burden on Enugu people. That shows you the burden. Because we don't have, show me the company like that is existing in Enugu. One company. Show me one company that is, the corporate headquarters is in Enugu. So these are where Lagos generates their income, their taxable income is from big multinationals, like Shell BP and the rest of them, like Chevron, Texaco, Ajip. They are not in Enugu, so it's just basically the Enugu people. There are no big conglomerates in Enugu. There are no big multinationals. It shows that Enugu people are being overtaxed.
So now, do you see this taxing? Because the government continues to maintain that the tax has not been increased, that the net has only been widened. Do you see this issue with people feeling the heat at this point as a teething problem? Do you see it as a challenge in the short run that would change when more businesses start to come to Enugu? Because prior to this administration, Enugu was viewed as a village. Let's face reality.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's a temporary challenge?
I personally have nothing against tax. For you to develop any community, you must tax the citizens. But then we have the issue of multiple taxation. That's what we're talking about. Multiple taxation and over-taxation. I believe Enugu State people are overtaxed. I believe that. A couple of years ago, if you want to get your CFO in Enugu State, it's in the neighborhood of 200, 300,000. For you to get the CFO is now 2 million naira. Who will want to invest in Enugu? Now. So I believe in the policies of our existing governor. I love him and I support him and I will support him. However, people are burdened. Enugu people are burdened. So he should listen to us and try to ameliorate. It shows that, like I said earlier on, where are the taxes coming from? From small businesses, from landowners, from people who are trying to make a living. Those are the people who are being taxed. Where are the conglomerates? Where are the big multinationals? Where are the IOCs in Enugu? They are totally non-existent. So it means that you and I are being taxed. Even lawyers are being taxed now. They are pushing us up and down. So I'm not against taxation. Every society that wants to develop must pay tax.
Now, tax established.
The volume of the tax is my challenge.
Right, the volume of tax is a challenge. Now, let's look at another perspective. Do you see some of the money coming as well from people who seem to be trooping into the state? It's really difficult, for instance, to book a slot at the International Conference Center because someone is always doing an event there, right? Yes. So you have more visitors coming, and of course they come with more business, right? Do you see the volume of tourists increasing? I mean, away from tax, which has been established, right? Do you see this as another angle where income could be coming from? More visitors, more spending, more business? No,
definitely. Once you have international event centers like the ICC, people will come in. And then, but we cannot be compared to the taxes you are generating from the people, from SMEs, from people who are doing business, from people who are trying to echo. How much do they pay ICC for an event? It pales into comparison to what the Enugu State people are paying, especially landowners. They are actually burdened. People in Enugu are being compelled to pay 8 million naira for property that is your own. After you have been verified to be the owner, you are still told to go and pay that is infrastructure levy. Who does that?
Who is the money being paid to? Who is
the government? NGs. So we are appealing to our governor. Like I said, we believe in this disruptive innovation. We want Enugu State to be better than Enugu State is now. But however, people are crying. They should listen to us and then try to find a way of having a balance in the system.
That's a good point.
Okay. Over the weekend, by the way, we saw and I saw the NFF regarding the grants released by FIFA and CAF. The stadium built in KB, right? So, Nigerian News Direct reps launch probe into over alleged misuse of $25 million FIFA CAF grants. The same money was released to Kenyan Football Federation and all that, and it was utilized, quietly, nice and all that. And you can see that I don't know if you saw the stadium right there. It's a standard stadium that they're asking after here. But the stadium can't even pass for secondary or primary school or whatnot.
Yeah, I think we can just pop up that turf, the picture of the turf and the ground of the stadium in quotes.
My take here is, why are we always, putting ourselves right there, the bad lights, showcasing Nigeria to the world as a disgrace and all that. It's a great thing that say, I should say that.
So you can see that. I mean, that is what $25 million was able to create in
You know what $25 million could achieve for you?
NFF.
A standard stadium, world class. And that's what they built.
$25 million. This was how it was spent, as alleged by NFF.
You see, my worry in all this is that whenever you hear a probe in Nigeria, it's not as if the people who are probing are serious about the probe. Whenever you hear a probe, it's all about maybe I didn't get my cut, so I will probe you. Because at the end of the day, you don't get to hear the end of the stories. So if they are serious, people should be arrested and prosecuted. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not interested in all this probe.
They've set up a committee already.
A committee. Somebody stole money, you are setting up a committee. Get the person arrested. Let the person take his evidence to court. See, whenever they say that they are probing somebody for committing a crime, my dear, you don't probe somebody for stealing. You don't probe somebody for stealing. It's like you arrest somebody for stealing and the police say, let us probe that you stole money. Come on. Whenever you hear probe, it's all about you didn't give us our court, so we'll deal with you.
Right.
Somebody stole money, charge him to court. Charge him to court and prosecute and jail him for stealing. You are establishing a probe to do what exactly? Somebody stole money, you are probing. Do you probe thieves? You don't probe thieves. You charge them to court and prosecute them.
Maybe the courtroom is too full of people challenging the election. Thank you so much, Mbah, for joining.
My pleasure.
It was so good having you. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story. We hope the probe leads to results at the end of the day. $25 million. I mean, what would you do if you were given a contract to execute with $25 million? Would you do what, as alleged, NFF has done, or would you do something better? I mean, how much is turf? How much is a football? Let's do that. Maybe when they go to court. We're going to a quick break now. When the morning show returns, we'll be taking regional stories and not to forget assessments coming up from 9. Stay tuned.